I don't remember when I stopped being loud. Maybe it was when I realized silence earned me praise. From the very beginning, my life ticked like a clock. Wake up, study, piano, repeat. They said I was born fragile. No rough play, no running wild, no scraped knees or broken bones. Only clean shirts, clean notes, clean records. I'm an only child of a business arranged marriage, not in love, just unfelt. Like an heirloom behind glass, cared for, displayed, but never held. Stoic on the outside, but inside, everything burned. The only place I ever got to be real was my Lola's house in the province. There, I wasn't a porcelain son, just a boy with muddy feet and music in his veins. But she's gone now, and for the past few years, life has been grayscale, muted, predictable, until that one afternoon. Cinco came to our campus. I wasn't even supposed to be there, but I heard their song, Lumen, and something in me cracked open, like a window I didn't know was shut. Can you hear me even if I don't speak? I shouted on top of my voice, but it seems not enough. The song says, it wasn't just the melody, it was the question. Was there anyone anywhere who could hear me? Who'd knock on a door already open and see me, not the performance, not the piano prodigy, not the puppet, but me. I started listening in secret. Cinco's name had been a murmur on campus ever since the student council invited them for that cultural event. I heard my father's voice echo down the hallway that night. Idols? Why not an orchestra? That would have been more dignified. He said it like idol was a dirty word, like it meant cheapness, shallowness, a hobby for people with nothing better to do. As if liking something colorful made you less intelligent. As if dancing in sync erased your worth. He didn't have to say more. I already knew what he believed. That feelings must be filtered, that art must have restraint, that admiration was only valid if it came wrapped in tuxedos and violins, and I believed him for the longest time. So when Cinco started to flood my algorithm, I clicked. But with the kind of caution you'd reserve for a guilty pleasure, not because I didn't like what I saw, but because I did. Too much, the energy, the rawness, the unapologetic way they took up space. I told myself it was a phase, a curiosity, a sociological dive. But I wasn't studying them. I was secretly wanting to be seen the way they allowed themselves to be seen. Each time I hit play, it felt like rebellion, and yet I never let the volume pass halfway. Because my walls were thin and my shame was thick, when the beat dropped and the lyrics soared, I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I just minimized the tab, cleared my YouTube history, deleted my downloads. I couldn't risk anyone knowing that beneath the perfect posture and piano recitals was a boy whose heartbeat kept time with neon light, bars, and hidden harmonies. A boy who wanted to cheer, scream, and belong, but was taught to bow quietly and only to the right kind of applause. Because in this house, loving idols wasn't just uncool. It was undignified, and dignity was currency, more important than joy. But one thing was becoming clear. Cinco didn't just sing songs, they were my soundtrack, my hidden playlist, my silent rebellion. And then the hiding began. At home, silence was the safest sound. My father didn't shout, he didn't need to. One glance from him could pin you in place, like a moth under glass. He believed in discipline, achievement, and legacy. Men in this house aren't fanboys. They study, achieve, obey. My mother, on the other hand, was gentler in tone but absent in presence. She smiled at piano recitals, clapped at honor ceremonies, but she never asked if I enjoyed any of it. And I learned not to offer what wasn't requested. So I hid the things that made my beat. The Cinco playlist, gone after every listen, fan art, saved, stared at, deleted. Their music sheets, wrapped in cloth, buried in the bottom of a drawer behind old textbooks. When I watched Fandoms, I did so like a criminal volume low, browser and incognito, one eye always on the door. No public posts, no digital trace. I lived a double life in the quiet corners of my bedroom. Outside, I was Circassian, clean, classical, composed. Inside, I was screaming lyrics I didn't dare sing out loud. I wanted to be moved. I just wasn't allowed to look like it. Because here, emotion was a weakness. Joy had to wear a suit, and devotion only if it was towards something respectable. Study group. I'm just coming from a study group. I opened the driver's side, ducked down to grab the cologne under the seat, still rehearsing my lies. Then chaos. The back door slammed open. I barely had time to catch my breath. when a calm auntie with sharp power bangs barked from the back seat. Boy, drive. Hospital. Emergency. Wait, what? A woman slid in beside her, pregnant, gasping hard for air. The pregnant woman barely whispered, 5 minutes, contractions. The auntie didn't waste a second. Just drive, yo. Unless you want this baby born in your car. My mind was still scrambling when the passenger door suddenly swung open and jumped a girl with wild pink hair, chest heaving, eyes blazing. Go, don't ask, just go. I stammered. I don't even, who are? Tita, Adi, Lyra, and Ria, leave, hospital, now. And just like that, I was thrown into a chaos I never expected, staring into the unknown, heart pounding faster than the melody I always tried to keep under wraps. My foot hit the gas like instinct. I drove through red lights, weaved through traffic, heart hammering harder than my speakers ever could. For a while, I wasn't Caspian, the quiet, careful boy. I was the accidental ambulance. We reached the hospital. The women jumped out, a pink-haired girl guiding the soon-to-be mom toward the entrance, still shouting instructions. I sat frozen. They never looked back. Weeks passed, then I saw her, pink hair and uniform, standing beneath the library steps like she belonged there, laughing loud in a sea of silent legacy kids. No way. This was an elite campus. All old money, quiet ambition, reputation first. People like me kept their heads down, blended in, stayed polite. But she didn't. There she was, bold, bright, utterly unbothered. Like a highlighter stroke across a beige page. I didn't even know her name at first, until I overheard it in passing. Not meant for me, but I heard it anyway. That's Ria, right? Heard she's from an influential family but left home. She works part-time. Doesn't like to rely on anyone, all in on her fandom, kinda intense. But top of her class, girl. That's why they still let her study here. Parents still pay the tuition. They didn't know the full story. No one did, but I listened. And for the first time since I started hiding, I wondered what it might feel like to be seen. I was just passing through the courtyard, earbuds in, mine tucked safely in the usual noise piano pieces, lecture notes, silence. And then, oi, Unikins! The voice cracked through the air like a spotlight. I froze. One earbud slipped out and hit the pavement. Unikins? No way that was directed at me. I turned, pink hair. Too much energy for 8 in the morning. To her. She grinned like she already knew me. You're Caspian, right? Lit class? Mr. Alonso's poetry voice favorite? I blinked. Yeah. Knew it. You're the mystery driver/escape artist from the hospital ride. Tita Adi still calls it the most thrilling Uber of her life. I swallowed. I think you're mistaking me for someone else. She didn't flinch. Just pointed directly to the edge of the wristband I forgot to tuck in. That doesn't look like school spirit, she said, grinning. I froze. I'd gotten too comfortable. Too visible. You have that look. That I'm not a fan, but I know the exact bridge of Lumen and my soul trembles accordingly. Also, you're still wearing that? Onakin alert. I tugged my sleeve instinctively. It's just a wristband. Music's decent, that's all. That's why you were muttering the harmony change in Tahanan outside physics like you were solving a puzzle? I'm not a fan, I said, too quickly. You're an Unakin in denial. It's okay. Most of us start there. You'll be crying over lyric translations in no time. She winked, actually winked, and started walking toward the cafe like this was normal. Come on, mystery man. Sit with me. We don't bite unless it's comeback day. I should have said no, but my feet moved before I could think. And for some reason, I followed. Study breaks became shared playlists. Playlists became deeper dive. Ria talked fast, like her mouth was trying to catch up to her brain. She shared trivia about fan projects and lyric meanings like they were sacred texts. I mostly listened, but every now and then I offered something quietly brilliant. I don't remember what started the conversation, maybe a song playing from Ria's cracked phone speaker, maybe the way the sunlight hit the artwing tree just right, but I found myself saying, you notice how the chorus of Sintang Luma climbs one note higher every repetition? That's not random, that's escalation. That's someone breaking. She looked at me like I just read a love letter out loud. You analyze heartbreak like it's sheet music. I shrugged. Maybe it is. That afternoon, we sat under that tree with soggy fries and unfinished thoughts. No filters, no echoes of our parents' voices. Just us, Why hide it? She asked, her voice softer than usual. I didn't answer right away. Just stared at a ketchup packet I wasn't using because my dad already thinks I'm soft. My mom says music's a hobby, not a future. And if I ever told them I spent money to watch boys sing about love, I let the silence fill in the rest. She didn't rush it. You still showed up, she said, like it was obvious. That means something. I shook my head, more bitter than I wanted to admit. Not enough for them. Her voice dropped again, barely above the rustle of leaves. Maybe not, but for us, the ones who hear what you hear, that's more than enough. I looked at her then, really looked. Not the noise, not the hair, not the defiance. Just her bare and bright in a world that demanded dull. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like a misplaced comma in someone else's paragraph. I felt seen. We just sat there, quiet, present. And for once, I wasn't hiding. They say houses remember arguments more than celebrations. That night, mine memorized everything. The weight of my father's footsteps down the hall. The way my mother stood, arms folded not from cold, but disapproval dressed as concern. And me called into the study like a defendant entering court. I wasn't there when Mrs. Uwe casually rewrote my parents' image of me, but her words made it home faster than I did. She said, "You've been spending time with that girl, Rhea, that girl." As if her name was an infection, I stayed quiet for a while, until Dad's voice cut through the silence, sharp and unforgiving. "We trusted you to focus, to uphold our name." I swallowed hard, heart pounding in my ears. "I haven't done anything wrong," I said, trying to keep the tremor out of my voice. But inside, I was screaming, trapped between wanting his approval and fearing his disappointment. But silence doesn't save you when someone's already decided you're guilty. His hand reached out, quick and cold, snatching my phone off the desk. No secrets. He unlocked it. He always knew the code. Because trust in this house was surveillance in disguise, he opened the music app. At first, the usual clean playlists, piano recitals, studio demo, Fleur de Lune, a Chopin nocturne. But then he scrolled too far. There it was, a title in all caps. Loud, bold, defiant. Cinco Lumen, he pressed play. Guitars, bass, thunder behind velvet vocals. That kind of track that doesn't ask permission to feel. And in that moment, that song was me. A version of me he'd never met. "So this is what you've been wasting time on? This noise? This embarrassment?" My mother, seated, clicked her tongue gently, but her silence shouted agreement. I should have shut down, gone quiet, said sorry. But for the first time, my voice found its proper volume steady, clear. "You call it noise, but it's the only thing that's ever felt honest." His glare sliced through me. "You're speaking back now? Look at what this girl's done to you." I met his eyes, calm but unyielding. She didn't do anything. She just reminded me I'm allowed to be someone outside of your expectations. He stared stunned like I'd just shattered the mold he cast me in, and I realized maybe this was rebellion. Or maybe it was birth. I didn't say a word after the confrontation, just turned and walked away, down the hall that once felt like a tunnel. Carpeted silence, wallpaper of expectations. But my feet, they moved different this time, firmer, faster. And then, without warning, the line echoed, "Why don't you try opening the door that's already wide open?" My breath caught. That night, the first night I heard the song, the ache, the crack, the unspoken me, tucked beneath centuries of approval. They never asked, they never looked, not past the grades, not past the medals, not past the mask. And now I was walking faster, steps real, sharp, not ghost steps like before. For the first time, I wasn't drifting, I was choosing. I don't hide behind these blinding lights. That line struck harder than any insult in that study room. Because this light, this so-called blinding noise of who I am, it doesn't blind me. It reveals me, so I walked, past the gates, past the ghost of the boy I was, and headed straight to the place that feels like clarity, to the apartment of the girl who didn't flinch at my silence. Rhea, the person who saw me even when I wasn't looking. I didn't knock. I stood there with my fist half raised like I was rehearsing something, but the door opened anyway, like they already knew I'd come. Rhea smirked, one eyebrow raised. "Oi boy piano. Come in before the neighbors think we're doing mixtapes in the hallway." I stepped inside and warmth hit me. Not just the temperature, but the feeling, cluttered but comforting, garlic rice and instant coffee. Lyric sheets, mismatched slippers, and in the middle of it all, Bao swaddled like a dumpling, asleep on Lyra's lap. Lyra looked up. Her voice was gentle. You okay? This time, I didn't pretend. No. Rhea patted the space beside her on the couch. Socks mismatched, bowl of popcorn cradled in her lap. Then sit, cry, eat, or all three. We don't judge. I sat. The cushion gave way like it had been waiting. Silence first, the good kind. The kind that doesn't demand anything. Then I said it. They told me I'm turning into someone else. Lyra asked, are you? I didn't rush the answer. No, I think I'm turning into me. Rhea laughed, that short, bright kind that sneaks under your ribs. Put that on a sticker. Even Bao stirred, like he agreed. Then she nudged me, just a nudge, but it lingered. Wanna hold him? Me? He doesn't bite. Yet, Lyra passed him over carefully. I held him like he was a song I didn't know the words to yet. Soft, warm. He's warm, I said. He's hope, Lyra replied. Rhea added, he's gas, mostly gas. We laughed again. This time it stuck around. I looked at them, really looked, and then I whispered, thanks for letting me in. Rhea shook her head like I'd missed the point. We didn't. You let yourself in. Lyra nodded. That's what this fandom is. Not an escape, a homecoming. I looked down at Bao, who yawned like he was wrapping up a concert. Then I looked at Rhea, not too long, but long enough to know something had shifted. Then maybe. I'll stay a while. You know, I said, steadier than I expected. I'm not scared of going back. Rhea looked up, eyes warm with mischief and pride. Because you're not going back the same. I nodded. It wasn't bravado. It was truth. Simple, solid. They still won't get it. My parents, their world, the rules. Lyra didn't flinch. Then break the wall, she said, gently, if you must. But break them anyway. Rhea, of course, smiled like she'd been waiting for this version of me. You won't do it alone. And that's when it hit me, how different this felt. How right. Is this what rebellion feels like? I asked, half serious, half in awe. Nope, Rhea grinned. This is what freedom feels like. Lyra just nodded, same thing most days. The door behind me stayed open. The night outside didn't feel like an ending, more like a witness. Something cosmic and quiet, holding space. I'm not done yet, I said, and I meant it. Good, Rhea replied. Neither are we. We didn't plan the silence that followed, we just sat in it. 3 people and a half. 1 apartment, fairy lights overhead. Lumen humming low from someone's phone like a lullaby written just for misfits like us. Outside, the world kept spinning, louder, colder, stricter. But inside, something realigned. And I knew, deep in the marrow of my bones, that legacies would stir again, rules would tighten, names would press down like weights on my back. But that's not this story. This story doesn't end in farewell. This story ends with me, finally stepping forward, not hiding, and knowing for the first time, I found myself.